I remember the day I walked into my office on Wall Street, the sun streaming through the glass windows like golden arrows piercing the corporate jungle. I was Helena Montez, 35 years old, a senior bank executive, and yet, deep down, I was still that girl from the small town who dreamed of more, who fought for every inch of success. My colleagues saw me as a rising star, a force to be reckoned with. But what they did not know was that my ambition was cloaked in secrecy. I had a hidden agenda, a plan to elevate not just my career, but my entire life. It was my parents who first sowed the seeds of betrayal in my heart. They had disowned me for being ambitious, for dreaming too big, while they clung to their small-town routines. The pain of their rejection cut deep, but I used it as fuel. I built my empire brick by brick, even as they faded into the background of my life. My personal life was not much different. I fell in love with Daniel, a charming man who swept me off my feet. He made me feel alive, like I could conquer the world with him by my side. I thought he understood my dreams, my drive. But as our relationship deepened, the shadows of doubt crept in. One evening, on the rooftop of our favorite restaurant overlooking the city, he got down on one knee and proposed, his eyes sparkling with promise. My heart raced with joy. Yet the nagging feeling in my gut warned me that this bliss was too good to be true. I said yes, my voice trembling with excitement. But little did I know that bliss would soon turn into betrayal. The wedding plans unfolded like a fairy tale. But beneath the surface, I sensed something was wrong. Daniel became distant, often lost in his thoughts, and I could feel the weight of unspoken words hanging between us. Days turned into weeks. And just when I thought everything was falling into place, he called off the wedding. The words echoed in my head like a cruel joke, a dagger to my heart. "I cannot marry you," he said, shaking his head as if trying to convince himself more than me. My world shattered in that moment. I spiraled into a darkness that felt suffocating. I was a woman scorned, a bride left at the altar, and the man I loved was gone, leaving nothing but a hollow void in his wake. If you love Helena's journey, like and subscribe to join her next chapter. I threw myself into my work, immersing myself in the world of finance, thinking that perhaps drowning in numbers would drown out the pain. I became more ambitious than ever, determined to prove that I was more than just a woman scorned. I climbed the corporate ladder with a vengeance, my ambition now a sharp blade cutting through any obstacles in my way. I refused to be a victim. I would reclaim my narrative, my power. Yet, with every promotion, I felt the ghost of Daniel haunting me. I needed closure, but I was also seething with rage. I wanted justice, cold and calculated. I found out he was working at a rival bank. The urge to confront him was overwhelming, but instead, I chose a different path. I would rise higher than him. I would become his superior. The game was on. I poured my heart and soul into my work, and soon I was leading a project that could change everything for the bank. I became the woman everyone respected. The one who turned heads in meetings, my voice commanding attention. The day came when I was set to present my project to the board. I stepped into the room, my heart racing with a mixture of fear and exhilaration. I looked around, and there he was, Daniel, now a mere pawn in my grand game. He was no longer the man I loved, but rather a reminder of everything I had overcome. As I presented my project, I could feel his eyes on me, filled with a mix of regret and admiration. I smiled, knowing that I had taken my pain and turned it into power. When the meeting ended and the board applauded my vision, I felt a rush of adrenaline. I had done it. I had not just risen above the ashes of betrayal, but I had built a legacy. The sweet taste of victory washed over me as I realized that I was now more successful than Daniel could ever be. It was a bittersweet moment, but it tasted like justice served cold. I walked away from that meeting with my head held high, knowing that I had reclaimed my power. I had turned the pain into ambition and the betrayal into fuel. I had risen like a phoenix from the ashes of my shattered dreams. I looked down at my phone and saw a message from Daniel. "I am proud of you," it read, but I simply smiled and deleted it. I had no need for his validation. I was Helena Montez, a senior bank executive, a woman who had turned betrayal into triumph. I had learned that love could break you, but ambition could rebuild you tenfold, and I was ready to conquer the world. My journey was far from over, and the skyline was mine for the taking. I would not just own it, I would shape it, mold it, and let it shine brightly for all to see. As I stepped out of that boardroom, I felt a sense of freedom wash over me, a freedom born from the ashes of my past. I thought about my parents and wondered if they had finally realized the strength of my ambition. Perhaps one day they would come to me for advice, and I would be ready to share my journey with them. Until then, I would continue to rise, to fight, and to create my own destiny. Join me, dear listener, as I navigate this thrilling life filled with ambition, betrayal, and the sweet taste of revenge. If you enjoyed my story and wish to hear more, do not hesitate to like and subscribe. The next chapter of my life is just beginning, and you will not want to miss it.